So, today we've got the wicked Kawasaki ZX-9R and we're going to abuse it in today's video. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. Basically, drop a motorcycle just so I can show you all how to pick it back up again. Now, of course, that's worst case scenario. You never ever want to drop a motorcycle if you can help it, but it does happen. So, let's get right to it. So to try and make this a little bit safer on the ZX-9R, I've installed some frame sliders on either side. I mean, they're pretty beefy frame sliders, to be honest, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to try and keep the indicators off the ground, as much as the bike off the ground as possible. I have tested the the frame sliders and it doesn't damage the bike any more than it already is, but this is the perfect motorcycle to try this out on. Alright, so first things first, I'm actually going to drop it on the ground. Okay. Now don't get me wrong, this is a little bit terrifying. Alright, yeah, don't do this yourselves at home. Alright, this is, yeah, a little bit scary. Alright, here we go. There we go. Alright. So the bike's on the ground. This is bad. But it's okay. On these frame sliders we're doing alright. Yeah, this is one thing that everyone looks past as they drive past. They look at it. Oh no. Yeah, they're looking at it thinking, oh my god, he just dropped his motorcycle. It's all good, it's all good. Alright, so as soon as the bike is on the ground and you've had a moment to compose yourself, the very first thing you want to do is turn the bike off. You can either turn it off at the ignition or you can turn it off at the kill switch there. Now, a lot of modern motorcycles have got an automatic cutoff. I'm pretty sure that this 24-year-old girl doesn't have any of that whatsoever. So it's always just a good habit to get into. Turn the bike off because, right, all the oil is pooling on the opposite side of the engine, so it's not actually having a chance to get round everywhere. All the different parts of the engine, it can cause some damage to the engine. That's the last thing you want. So make sure that you turn the bike off as soon as you can when the bike is on its side. So there's a couple of ways that you can pick the bike up off the ground. You can deadlift it up if you wanted to. This is only a 200 kilogram motorcycle. I say only 200 kilograms. That's quite heavy, but it's not the heaviest motorcycle that I've had to lift off the ground. So, I mean, I'm not all that strong either. My maximum bench, I think, was 85 kilograms, 1 rep max, so it's not a lot. But all you're going to be doing is using the leverage of the motorcycle to anchor it back up. Basically, you're going to try and get it onto the tyres, then you're going to lift it up off the ground. Alright, so let's try the deadlift technique first. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that you use this technique. If you've got a little bit of strength and you've got some things to grab onto, then you can do it this way. And I mean, as I kind of experienced on the ZX2, because it doesn't have any pillion handles, trying to lift it up off a pillion handle is next to impossible, so deadlifting it up might be the only way that you're able to do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to face the motorcycle, I'm going to grab onto the handlebar here, and I'm going to grab onto the pillion handle. Alright, and then you're going to get into a squat position like you do at the gym, and lift. Ooh. There we go. Okay. So that's one way that you can do it, alright? It's fairly straightforward and it wasn't that difficult. You're not going to end up flipping the bike over the other way, alright? So don't worry about doing that, because you probably won't. I mean, even on a 125, what are they? 150 kilograms, something like that. No, you shouldn't have any worries of flipping it around the other way. Basically, as soon as the motorcycle is high enough that it can lean onto you, right, like this. Alright, once it's high enough to lean onto you like that, then it should just be a case of giving it a little bit more, and then you can put the kickstand down. Because once the motorcycle is kind of balanced, alright, once it's up like this, it's quite easy to move around, alright? So you shouldn't have too much trouble once you get it past kind of this point here. I'll tell you what though, it is knackering. You don't want to do this a lot, I'll tell you that for nothing. Yeah, Frame sliders doing all right. Okay, so I've dropped the motorcycle again, and I'll show you the preferred method. I've done this on my ZX-9R when I picked that one back up off the ground. It was difficult, but I don't know. I'll just show you. I didn't really like it, but basically the technique is you're going to sit on the seat. You're going to hold on to the handlebar here, and you're going to hold on to the pillion handle. And similar to the technique where you're facing towards the bike, you're going to be deadlifting up like this, but at the same time you're going to be pushing the bike like this with your arse. Okay? All right. Let's drop it again. All right, here we go. Okay. Right. Time for technique number 2. All right, here we go. Now this is easier if you've got the frame sliders because it slightly lifts the motorcycle up off the ground. Gives you a little bit of helping hand, but you can do the exact same thing if the bike is all the way on the fairing. Alright, so I'm just going to sit up against it and lift. Right, now once you're sitting on the bike like that, it's actually easy to let the bike lean against you. So I'm just going to transition, turn myself around, and put the kickstand back down. Woo! Yeah, don't want to do that too many times. Alright guys and gals, I mean, that is pretty much it, and I'm not lying to you when I say that 200 kilograms is a lot, even when you've got the tyres as anchors. Yeah, they're heavy. Alright, when you start getting to 650s, 750s, 800s, 1000, all those kinds of bikes, they're really heavy. Now, sport bikes in particular, they are designed to be lighter, so you might have a slightly easier time of it lifting a sport bike off the ground, but not always. All right, I think my old CBR 600RR from Honda was about 200 kilograms wet as well, very similar weight to this motorcycle, and even though it doesn't feel that heavy when you're riding it around, yeah, when you're trying to lift it up off the ground, it's still tiring. I mean, hopefully when you've got that adrenaline pumping around your veins, it's easier to do because you're like, oh my god, the bike, oh no. Like, a lot of the times that's what happens, isn't it? Riders care more about the motorcycle than they do themselves when the bike falls over. So yeah, when you've got that adrenaline coursing through your veins, it shouldn't be that hard. But like I kind of said, if you turn the bike off, don't worry about picking up the bike as quickly as possible, all right? Take a second or two to decide how you want to do it. You can try one technique over another. If you've dropped the motorcycle somewhere out and about on the street, you can try and find some help. If you want to try and get it back off, if you can't get it back off the ground yourself, that is. But all these techniques you should be able to do yourself on the vast majority of bikes. I don't know about big tourers, big cruisers, things like that. You might struggle with those kinds of motorcycles, but it's totally doable. All right. But anyway, thank you ever so much for watching this one. Leave a like. Let me know in the comment section below if there are any other techniques that you've used to pick up a motorcycle off the ground. Ride safe. We will catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.